Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special episode of East Meets West, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Opinionated MJ. Your boy Conrado Pascual's over there. And we have a special guest, ladies and gentlemen, Kenzo Fukuda of Clutch Points, Golden State Valkyries beat writer. Thank you for joining the show, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me on the podcast. Also, Michael, you totally got my name right. Sometimes people totally mess that up, so I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I made sure. I made sure with kind. Like I don't want to butcher no names.
Yeah, we try our best to pronounce everyone's names correctly, like players and everything like that. So we try to practice it beforehand. So.
Yeah. But is there anything that you want to tell the people about you, like outside of Clutch Points and just being a beat writer? Like, is there more? I'm sure there's more to your resume. Let people know who you are. So they like, oh, who is he? Like, you should know who he is, especially if you're in the Bay Area.
Definitely, yeah. I've only been a beat writer for Clutch Points since like March. So this whole season, Valkyries. I cover Warrior stuff too. It's all a little bit new, so I'm still trying to find my flow and everything. But I'm born and raised in San Francisco. Big Warriors fan, Giants, Niners, all of them for life.
As a Lions fan, I'm upset with you.
We
blew that game. We blew that game.
I thought the Niners were chucking that one away, but I'm just big Bay Area guy. Went to UC Berkeley for 4 years. I'm also really into film and that type of stuff. So that's also the thing I do kind of on the side.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm really excited the podcast. I've been kind of wanting the podcast for a while. So this is a great opportunity. Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, hopefully this is the first of many, appearances on this show. But actually it's cool that you say like you're just even new to being a beat writer. It's so fitting because with the Valkyries, this is a season of first. Everything is a first. Right. And what I was telling MJ, like before you got on the air with us, is that how does it feel? It's new to you, just like this position, this role, but seriously, being part of a new team, something that's been built from the ground up, you're witnessing it day to day. Like you are, like, as Michael would say, like if you are a Valkyries fan, especially around the Bay Area, people know your name. Like right now, you are the Valkyries beat guy, other than like maybe Nathan. People go to you. Yeah, people come to you for injury reports, lineups, any post game reports. You know what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah.
This is how has it been? Kind of growing with the team.
It's really cool because I feel like when I started with Clutch Points, I was doing a little bit of Warrior stuff to kind of get into it, and I feel like that space, it was really established, like who the writers are. So it was kind of figuring out sort of especially in the press room, like how everything kind of stacks up. Cause there's certain people that, sit in the front, they ask the questions like Slater and Tim Kawakami, they are like the main writers. So being with the Valkyries, it's been I think career wise, a really cool opportunity to kind of make my way into that space, especially as like a new writer, because I think they're aren't totally a lot of rules, so to speak. There aren't these customs and norms in the press conference room at the start of the season. So it's kind of slowly building your way in, establishing yourself as this guy is going to all these practices and these games and making sure the players kind of recognize your face. One thing I kind of struggled with at the beginning of the season was introducing myself, my name, because I was really nervous just talking to all these players. So I never would say oh, Kenzo Fukuda, Clutch Points, and then ask my question. I kind of would just jump into it. So it's been really cool, career wise, being a part of this really cool movement, and just seeing how popular the Valkyries are in the Bay is really cool to me, because these games are really, really loud, and everyone is the vibe is just so pure and happy. I think sometimes with the Warrior games, it's just it's been overrun by techies, so the crowd's not very loud, and it gets it's not that Oracle playoff magic or anything like that. So being in Valhalla, they've done a great job with the marketing and all that branding and everything. But it's been really cool to see how the Bay Area is really coming into this this new team, especially with just new basketball fans, because I'm talking to people who never had any interest in basketball beforehand, and now they're like going to like 3 or 4 games like in a month, because like tickets also are really good price for if you just want to watch good basketball. So it's been a really cool like opportunity. I think it's all been positive. I don't think there've been any really negative things about like what's happening with the Valkyries, which is great, because it's been that I think they're a great organization. The teams, the players are great, and Natalie is like, her press conferences are sometimes she'll go back and forth with you, but I think overall she's been doing a great job as a coach and just like representing the team.
Definitely. So in the early portion of the season, we had all of this like musical chairs going on with the Valkyries pretty much set, you know, and I don't mean to jump ahead. This probably should be a last question, but I'm just gonna jump out with it. Just looking at what they look like now, like where do you see them ending in the seeding?
I think right now they've had a kind of easy schedule. The last couple they won, I think, like 6 of their last 8 games, and their 2 losses were against the Aces, but the other games it was mostly against teams sort of near them in the standings. So I think it's a little hard to tell like if they're like one of the elite teams in the WNBA, but I do think that they definitely are a playoff team. I think they're going to be a 7-8 seed, especially because like some of these other teams are just kind of dropping. Like Sparks are kind of whatever. The Storm, there's a lot going on there, so I don't really know what's happening with that. So I think I talked about in my article. I think there's this mindset with the Valkyries right now that they kind of have to win every game, which is true. All these games are going to matter, but they also kind of don't have to do that as long as they kind of stay afloat. I think they'll be in that playoff hunt. I think the biggest thing right now though is that they're finally kind of stable with their rotation. It's been aside from expansion, it's been really the rotation's been like all over the place because of injuries, losing Kayla Thornton, Eurobasket. So Natalie was saying the other day, like the rotation's finally kind of set in a certain degree, like knock on wood. Hopefully there are no injuries for the rest of the season.
I got wood right here.
But I think like as long as I think they're going to be in the like 7-8 hunt, which they'll probably draw a really, really hard team. But I think that's really good for a first season as an expansion team.
I mean, since we're now talking about playoffs, because I was going to save that for a little bit later, but I mean, you know, Kenzo, you actually pointed it out the other night that Natalie essentially, like for the last several games, she's essentially played like an 8-player rotation, really sometimes 7. Like, you know, she got you said, I'm not saying that she was like disciplining Temi Fagbenle, but okay. Too many turnovers consecutive to come out to start the second half. Benched. We never saw her again. She rolled with 7 players. She's been doing this the last several games. And the reason why I point out is there are a lot of fans. I understand where they're coming from. They're like, well, if we have 10 players suited up or more, why don't you use more? But I think you alluded it to a number of times where Natalie was trying to say like, well, could I give this certain player, like the 11th player on the road, like on the roster, 5 minutes? 5 minutes at the expense of what, right? Someone in the top 7. So I mean, as you said, playing like every game is a must-win. Playing it like it is a playoff game, and we've seen it already. The Liberty, the Lynx, they're healthy. They're healthy-ish, and they're still playing 7 players, 8 players, right? What are your thoughts? I kind of have my feelings about this because you said already, like, we'll probably be 7th or 8th seed. Right. I think historically, if you're around 500, you'll make the playoffs. So I think we could be, you know, and if we're 7th or 8th, we already know who we're playing. If we're the 8th, we're playing the Lynx. 7th, we're playing the Liberty. While I still think the odds are against us, do you think that we're actually built for a 3-game series? Like, I think we're better suited for a 3-game than a 7-game series.
I said it before. I'm usually the optimist guy when it comes to basketball and my team, the teams that I cover and everything. But I do think like Natalie is really, really good at scheming up these 1-game, 2-game. Like you only need two wins in these series,
right?
And I think like, especially at the start of the season, I think that's when like you could see like Natalie's like coach brain really, really exploit some of these like teams' weaknesses, especially without like, you know, the scouting and everything. She did it against Caitlin Clark in the first game. She actually did it twice against Caitlin Clark, but she got Asia Wilson kind of in that first game before Asia kind of figured it out. So I think like in a 3-game series, the Valkyries are dangerous in the sense that like, I don't think any team really wants to play that team because like one, their defense is like top in the league. They can muck it up. And recently they've been kind of playing a slower pace, which Natalie kind of said like, oh, it's because like we need to rest players. But I think part of it is also like like if they can just get these games in like the 70s or the 60s even, like they have a chance to like kind of steal them. So I again, like the Lynx and the Liberty and even the Dream are kind of really tough matchups for the Valkyries. They don't have great records against them this season. But I will say like if you give like Natalie 1 or 2 or 3 games, I think she can definitely steal one. And then once you get one in those series, it gets real dangerous. So I think the Valkyries are, I think like just from a scouting perspective, they're really ahead of the game on that. So I wouldn't want to see them in the first round series if I'm one of those top teams.
I seen your tweet from yesterday actually, and it was about how did you word it? You can fix whatever paraphrase because I'm gonna mess it up. It's getting butchered. But you said that they only took like 57 field goal attempts, and that was the lowest since was it against Washington? I believe you said early on. Do you think that that's a product of it? Like they're actually slowing the game down to get prepared for like half court. You know what I mean? Instead of just running around all the time and then mucking it up on defense. But then when the games come, need to be closed, you don't have the poise. Is maybe Natalie is installing that, you know what I mean? And then they're being more efficient, of course, because they made their shot, at least in that game. And I've long seen it like repetition, is going to help you actually get better. So we've seen them be the most shooting or the most 3-point shooting team in the league. And then now we're starting to see them get like really hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that that's actually good going into the playoffs. Like the way I see it is you just have to slow the game down. Like, cause if you think you're going to run and just shoot and beat teams that way, it's not going to work. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I think their half court offense at the start of the year was a big problem. A lot of how they were scoring at the beginning of the season was on the fast break, creating these steals, these turnovers, extra possessions. Like that's kind of how that they were getting their offense. And I think the offense has kind of been like their weakness this whole season, just because they don't like to hear you say it, but like they don't have like that Asia Wilson type, that like Nafisa Collier type to like generate the offense. So
I say that every episode. Don't worry.
Right.
It's tough. I think like they are in optimistic terms of strength in numbers, win by committee kind of team, which makes it a little. It's going to be. I think if you're gonna pick like the Lynx in one of those series, like it's that half court offense for the Valkyries is going to struggle. But I will say, like the last couple of games, the ball movement has looked really, really strong.
Yes.
Veronica Burton, we should probably talk about her. She's been really good off the ball, and on the ball. I think like that's like been one of her biggest leaps this season. And Chechi Zandalasini, she's been really great. So they've just been like crazy. It's
she looks like Emma Meeseman Jr. almost sometimes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like some of the 3-pointers are like super contested. So I think just from a half court perspective, if I right now it looks really good because they are playing like a weaker schedule. But if it does, like if they can keep getting these like really open looks and keep this ball movement flowing, I think like that'll sort of like that'll give them a chance in if they can get to the playoffs.
Okay.
Before we move on and actually talk about some of the players and coaches who are likely very deserving or maybe the front runners for certain regular season awards. You said it earlier about, all the changes in the lineups. Obviously, all the players coming in and out, whether that be injuries. So, Eurobaskets or the hardship contracts, the 7 days and everything like that. Michael and I on our previous episode, we kind of like mentioned it. And I've been mentioning it on social media too. Like, I don't think every single player that's put on a Valkyries jersey, I don't think a single one has actually performed badly.
Yeah.
Right? Like the one who maybe, I can't even say she didn't fit, Kiara Linskins, like she just got phased out of the rotation because Monique Billings, as MJ and I predicted, she would get slid over to the 5, So we're seeing it now. I mean, to a lesser extent, but like obviously Chloe Bibby, who's now with the Fever, She had some great run with us. Even to a lesser extent, Bree Hall, Ariel Powers, Kyla Charles, just comes out of nowhere and is part of the rotation. What have you seen? Either maybe in practice or what we're not seeing during game time. What is it that it seems like just anyone that Ohemanian and Natalie bring in, they just fit in?
It seems like everyone. I think it is Ohima and Natalie. They pick players that really fit their vision. They're not just play style wise, what they're about, character. Which I think is one of the biggest lessons from this whole expansion thing. Pick players that fit your coach's vision. Because if you are at any of these practices or just before the game or whatever, you see all these players talking to Natalie, talking to the coaches extensively, long conversations, just with a laptop, going over film. You rarely see if the player is not working out on the court, they're talking to a coach. So with Kyla, they had to fly her in, which was kind of crazy. She just. I think they flew her in. It was on the road when they picked her up. So
yeah,
they caught her up really quickly, and it's a credit to her. She did the work to get up to speed, which is not an easy thing. I think Natalie said she's been around the league with kind of getting released and everything. So it's something she's used to. But I think what comes down with all these Valkyrie players being able to do so well is they're really committed to simply put to winning. They have that high character, that motor that is maybe you can't find that in the stats. You can kind of find that in the character in talking to these players, but you can't find that in just scouting them. So I think they deliberately they're really good at, they're just really good at finding players that fit what they're all about. And I think if you hear any press conference, they always emphasize family, working hard, being killers, all that type of stuff. So yeah, I think it's it's a little bit of they pick the right people, so to speak.
Okay.
Excellent. And have you heard anything, just real quick, since we just talked about Kayla Charles, do you expect her to finish out the season with the team?
That's a question that a lot of us in the reporting room have, just because the WNBA roster rules and everything, it's super prohibitive because technically Kayla Thornton is on the roster still, because she should be if it was NBA, she'd be on the IR and you could sign another player. But there's no injured reserve in the WNBA. So I think what they're going to keep doing is just keep signing her to these 7-day contracts. And if she plays well, they might have to make a decision come playoff time, because I don't know the full CBA rules. That thing is a mess, for being honest.
Yeah.
But I think they probably would have to make a decision, which that would they've made too many roster moves already. So I think they're just going to keep, as long as they can keep signing her the 7 days, I think they're going to keep doing it. But if push comes to shove, they might have to make another tough roster decision.
Ooh.
I mean, she's basically 7th in the rotation. That's what's crazy. Anyway, I'm sorry, MJ, you want to go real quick?
Well, I forgot what I was going to say before, or it was something pertaining to just because I've been mentioning that they it seems like they had a vision for what they wanted and they added those players, and it's kind of a good thing that they didn't get one of the big names to come over, because instead of building around them, they were able to actually build out what they wanted to do and just plug it in, you know what I mean, and let it work. But based on what you just said now, and I don't like releasing, because like Khan said, I'm optimistic. I hate players getting released. So the question is, they're not going to drop Kayla Thornton if they decide to keep her, are they?
No, they would definitely wouldn't, because she's still around the team and she's still at all these meetings and everything. So she's still big part. They're emphasizing she's a big part of all the stuff behind the scenes. I think if they were to cut a player, and it brings me no joy to say it, I think it would probably either be Letitia or Caitlin, because they just haven't been in the rotation lately. But I don't know. They might also just Kyla Charles might just be a regular season thing. And once they get into the playoffs, they'll just rock with the players that they've had all season. Just because this is based on no sources or anything. I think it just would technically be easier, because she hasn't been with the team the whole season, to let someone who kind of just came in go out. But it's tough. I think I think a little bit of the reason why Kyla's also gotten a lot of run, not only for like what she brings like to the court. I think they also want to give her some really good tape to get her to the next team and whatnot. I think that's another really good thing that they've been able to do this season. They gave like Chloe Bibby, Julie Van Loo some really good tape to get re-signed and everything. So we'll see. It's tough, I think, and also like Natalie's emphasized it. The players have emphasized. I'm going to emphasize it. Like the WNBA needs more roster spots on these teams. It's kind of ridiculous how like some of these players are just flying across the country to get like signed and everything. So yeah, it's tough, but we'll see what happens with that.
Go ahead, Con.
On the topic of roster turnover, the Valkyries ended up not making any moves at the trade deadline, which I mean, like, I don't think MJ and I are necessarily that surprised. I think a lot of fans just thought like, well, we are the expansion team. We have a plethora of cap space, right? So we could actually, unlike like other teams, we could make an uneven trade, salary wise. We could take back more salary. I mean, are you surprised, or maybe not surprised, but like, what are your thoughts about their inactivity at the trade deadline? Like, I mean, if you maybe heard anything, like kind of, how the team felt about it, or were there any murmurs moving up, like heading to last Thursday, like if maybe something could have happened?
I think it was for the most part pretty quiet. There was like that week after Kayla Thornton got hurt where it's like, okay, the Valkyries probably have to break even, or if they go on a losing streak, they might have to consider doing a little bit of selling at the deadline. But overall, I wasn't too surprised. I think like just based on like the team vibe, they really wanted to just be like solid, like no more people going in and out, no more having to reincorporate like or get people up to speed on some of these things, just because like they were literally doing that all season up until like maybe like this week. Like there's just been too much roster turnover. So I don't think they wanted to make a move. I don't think they wanted to make a move either way because they didn't want to compromise their future. They also didn't want to compromise on the season, which I think makes sense. I think like if everything they've been saying this year has been like, we're committed to winning, we want to be like, we want to win. I think Joe Lacob said like, we want to win a championship in 5 years. I think if you're about that, you can't be selling at the deadline and try to tank it out. I think that's like the antithesis of what Natalie's about, what the players are about. I think it just goes against what everything they've been saying. So I wasn't too surprised by them not making a move. I think like we were kind of speculating like maybe they do like a soft sell and like see what you can do with like get something for Kate Martin because she wasn't totally in the rotation. But no, I think they're locked in on like see what you can do this season, see what what you have in this roster, continue the Cinderella run. Maybe you can do something crazy in the WNBA playoffs. But I kind of was like, I thought it was like, from my opinion, I thought it was a good idea just to like keep it moving. Don't make any changes. I thought that was a good move.
Yeah. I mean, I actually thought if they moved someone, like again, how you phrase it, like a soft sell, I thought maybe Temi Fagbenle would have been like kind of like they would have fielded offers, only because even though she is the nominal starter, right? Like the types of lineup flexibility they've had, you've seen it like these last several games, with Ileana Rupert, and then same thing with Monique Billings when she returns. You could maybe kind of see like, I don't want to say make her expendable, but it's reasonable. And then you see the lack of playable backup bigs, right, that some of these contenders are facing. I thought maybe she could have drawn some interest, but I think it's cool that she stays. I think she's been a very positive factor on this team.
It's been weird because I think before Eurobasket, she was like on one. Like she was like the defensive anchor. She was like, she had like this one game where she had 4 steals, 4 blocks. She looked really good before Eurobasket, and then kind of after Eurobasket, it's been a lot quieter. I think like the stats aren't really showing up there, and like on the court, I feel like her presence hasn't been as felt since returning from Eurobasket. And then, like you said, like Ileana Rupert has kind of been like that stretch 5 that they really need, and she offers a lot of size and defense that is also kind of is the same as Temi. So it's something to monitor. I will say, I think like I was a little shocked that Natalie didn't go at all back to Temi in that in that last game against the Mystics, because that Temi is definitely like one of the like vocal leaders in the locker room. So we'll see. I think like again, like it's a good decision to like hang on to Temi for now. But I think the rotation is something to monitor, because again, like playoffs are coming, and that's when you really got to figure out what your lineup is, your best 5. So yeah,
I agree with that. Did you have something else? Did you have another angle yet, Con? Or I can pivot. Can I pivot?
Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
we're just gonna like kind of like dance around the roster.
I'm in love with Janelle Salaün, and from what I've seen recently, it seems like, I guess maybe I'll say since the break, she just looks like she's way more like assertive. You know what I mean? From the triple threat position, like just watching the last few games, like before she would get the ball and she would kind of hesitate and kind of like, oh, where should I go? And now she's just like making her move and then going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's reading the heck out of the defense, like just in a snap. You know what I mean? And I just love what I'm seeing from her. I'm optimistic to the point where I think she has like star potential, but I've just been loving what I've been seeing from her, and I'm obsessed with her shot. Kind knows it's like
it's a line drive.
The apex of that shot is beautiful. Like it's like Dirk and like Kobe blended with her own little whatever. Especially how she kicks out her foot. Like it's just so cool to me. But where do you see her in like 2 or 3 years? You can maybe even next season. Like I see her taking a leap with this team, but like overall, like what do you think her ceiling is?
I definitely this since Eurobasket, her offense, they've really needed her offense, because it's just like, again, the half court issues. I think the big, this is just my opinion as a guy on the couch, but I think like if she just kind of has to work on her like on ball, like sometimes she takes too long, like when she's in that triple threat position, and it leads to like some of these like maybe not some questionable shot choices. Yeah. But recently, like again, like the ball movement is where she really thrives. Like when she gets like the ball and like a catch and shoot opportunity, that thing's going in. She gets her feet set, she gets her mechanics all lined up. So I think like 2 or 3 years down the line, I think you'll see like some of those on ball skills develop a little bit more, some of that shot creator stuff. Because right now, like she has that like that sniper like catch and shoot mentality. So I think like, and her defense like is already like really far along. She had that one flagrant 2 foul where she just kind of shoulder checked. I forget which player it was. Which I think like
Lloyd.
Yeah.
Okay, flagrant 1, but I don't think that was a flagrant 2. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but
I think again, Natalie like kind of likes that type of stuff. She likes like when her players are like really like fired up. So she really plays like, she's like, you would think like she's kind of maybe soft spoken, quiet, but on the court, like she's like yelling. She's hyped up when she hits like a 3 or something. So Scott, I'm maybe not as high as you MJ on Janelle.
I know Con wasn't either.
I do think like as a stretch, like as a power forward, like she is pretty unique because she plays really good defense and she's a stretch four. So I think in 2 to 3 years she definitely can be like maybe a second, maybe third, the second best player on a winning roster. We'll see. I think it's still early. She's still like pretty young. But yeah, I do like what Janelle offers. I think just if there was one thing I would critique, it's just being a little bit more efficient, because sometimes the shot choices are a little bit yeah.
Especially off of offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
Like there's no conscience with it. It's like it's going up immediately. Like, man, it doesn't matter where on the court, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll weigh in. I think Kenzo and I were actually kind of like, kind of quote tweeting each other like about a couple days ago about that. I feel like since Eurobasket, and it has also to do with the Monique Billings injury, but I feel like the forward combo of Janelle Salaün and Cecilia Zanalissini, I think they've kind of unlocked each other.
Yeah.
I truly believe this is synergistic. And I think that's a testament to like Natalie and the coaching staff. Because basically, Kenzo just called Janelle a stretch four, which technically she is, right? Yeah. But I mean, if you literally watch their sets, they interchange.
Mm-hmm.
They're both doing the exact same thing, and they're switching it up from like possession to possession. And I don't know, there's just a big comfort level, between the two of them. Since Michael brought up Janelle, the other French woman, right? One of the three of the French connection.
Hey.
We already mentioned Emiliana Rupert, Carla Leite. And you want to talk about like swag and grit. I mean, it's kind of like a recurring joke here on this podcast, but we respect the heck out of it.
Mm-hmm.
She will drive on anyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, for better or for worse.
Fearless.
And she never gets like discouraged. What have you seen? Like, I mean, like we have our opinions, but again, seeing it up close, getting to see her, during practice and after games, right? It seems like the team just absolutely loves her. The fans obviously absolutely love Carla Leite. But what have you seen from her throughout the course of the season? Being someone coming overseas, still even learning the language. Yeah, what has that been like? Just kind of seeing her growth this season.
Yeah, I think at the start of the season, because especially if you watch her like her mixtape from like being on the French team, she was like an on-ball like 3-point shoot. Like she would like step back, shoot, like kind of maybe chuck it up, like trying to Jordan Poole style. Like she was shooting a lot of threes at the start of the season, and it wasn't exactly going in. And I think the adjustment she made, like whether it was an All-Star break or whatever, I think she started just going to the hoop because I think she realized like she's just faster than a lot of these players. Like once she gets downhill, like she not only can she like get past the defender, she can finish on both sides. So I think you started to see like she's kind of like the Valkyries like change of pace, like change up pitcher, just because like the starting lineup kind of likes to play a little bit more methodical, a little bit slower. And then you throw Carla Leite in there and like, wow, like they're running fast breaks off of rebounds. They're kind of, they're doing like this beautiful, like Steve Nash chaos basketball.
Right.
So
Controlled chaos.
I like that reference.
Control, sometimes just chaotic, but most of the time. So she's been great. I think like, there's sometimes like her defense is a little, not like suspect, especially when you have like really solid defenders in Veronica Burton and Tip Hayes. But I think like they've started bringing her off the bench like six, like the first person off the bench. So
yeah,
she's going to be a big part of like what they do in whatever playoff series they end up in. Just because of like that, she just has like a different gear that some of these other players just don't have. Like she can run a pick and roll and hit the roll man. She can actually penetrate into the paint, which is huge because like again, like the 3-point shooting is a little shaky here and there. So when you get like players like Tip Hayes and Carla Leite like getting into the paint, it opens up everything on the outside. So she's been, I kind of think her ceiling is maybe a little higher than Janelle's, just because like she can kind of
Kenzo knows ball.
just because if she can like figure out that 3-point shot too, because like she's pretty young still. So like when she figures out, like I think she comes up short on some of those shots. So like one off season of just like getting like some of the like strength on those shots, like you have a very like 3-level score kind of player on your hands. So I'd look out for that. Like she's made some. I think it was a little. I think fans were a little concerned at the start of the season because she wasn't hitting those threes. And she's like right now she's still not hitting those threes. She's getting a lot of fouls on those 3-pointers. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Carla Leite in terms of what she can bring to the Valkyries.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted out last night, but I did include both or all three of Veronica Burton, Tip Hayes, and Carla Leite, but specifically Carla Leite as a true rookie, right? I mean, the rate at which she draws fouls at the rim is like elite. Like we're talking about like Kennedy Carter levels, you know? That's why I'm saying, right? Like as Kenzo's saying, if you can harness that, right? Like those dribble drives become more controlled, you know, like not everything has to be 100 miles per hour. Because again, she has that elite first step, but we've also seen flashes where like the change of pace, right? Kind of like the hesitation. I mean, I could see a world where like she's up there. You know, I'm not saying a franchise player, but like, okay, you could actually start her, you know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah.
I think before we move on, because you mentioned her a couple times, we know how much Kayla Thorne meant to this team, or I don't want to say like past because she's still around, you know, and that's great, you know, and she really was. But I felt like, during the off season, Michael and I kind of said that, okay, Tip Hayes got paid. Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
She got paid, but still, she had a number of suitors. She was just with the Aces last season.
Right.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, Tip, in terms of, like, hey, right, like, exuding belief in this franchise, kind of bringing some credibility to a team that had a lot of ambiguity, right? There's people didn't know. We know from Tip's career, like, how charismatic she is. But can you, like, just again, maybe things that we don't see as fans, just on our couches, what kind of, like, what impact, like, what, to the extent of what impact has Tip had, like, on the team, maybe the young players and everything like that?
Yeah. I think this is, Natalie was talking about at the last press conference, like, she was saying, like, she rock, like, her and Tip are like, they call each other my dog, like, they rock with each other like heavy. And I think, like, a big reason why, like, Tip came out of retirement to join the Valkyries is because Natalie asked her. I think, like,
time out real quick. Did she ever really retire?
Retire.
Like, she just signed a contract to go play overseas again. Like,
she was leveraging.
I was thinking
using it as leverage.
Yeah.
Like, is that just Tip being Tip? Like, yeah. But I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. You're chilling. But yeah, I think, like, she's really, like, this steady force in the locker room. I think, like, she's also steady force in the locker room, on the court. Like, if there's a scuffle, I think Tip's, like, the first one there. That Mabry thing with Zandalicini, when Zandalicini did the three in her face, Mabry was walking over to the bench, and I was like, oh, this is gonna get interesting. And the first person, like, the first Valkyrie to notice that was Tip, and Tip was, like, right there, like, yelling. She's just yelling at Mabry. So, like, she's like that. I think in the locker room a lot. Like, I'm not in the locker room, but based on what Natalie's, like, said, like, she is, like, this calming presence. Natalie said, like, Tip helps her coaching because she tells, like, the player, like, when Natalie's like, sometimes when I rip into the players, Tip's the one to, like, tell the players, like be the good cop and tell them, like, this is what Natalie needs from us. So I think, like, her leadership's been huge this season. Also, like, she's had a good season. She's also had a weird season because she's been wearing that mask, like, pretty much the whole year.
Yeah.
And, like, every time she goes to the ground or, like, gets fouled, I'm like, is she good? Because she's like grabbing her face and all that type of stuff. So yeah, she's been a really stable force for them. I think she's been because, like, she's just like, if you need a basket, you can kind of give it to her and she'll just go left and get to the rim. So yeah, I think, like, locker room wise, she's also older than a lot of the players, like, by a couple of years. So she's kind of like this, like, player coach kind of player for the team.
Agreed.
Nice.
Go ahead, Con. Who we pivoting to next?
What up? Oh no, I mean, I just have, again, some more macro questions. But
okay.
So is there any player you want to highlight first, MJ?
No, because KT's out. What is the timetable for Monique? When is she supposed to come back?
Insider Kenzo now.
yeah.
Well, she's still I got the injury report, like, before he hopped on here. She's still gonna be out for a couple more games. I think it's the ankle injury is kind of, like, they're being a little careful with it. I will say, like, she's still in all the promo stuff. Like, she was in that Valkyrie egg promo, running around with the egg in, like, heels. So I think they're taking their time. Injured.
She's gonna be the secret weapon, the X factor for the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. So she's I think they're just being careful. I think, like, ankle injuries are, like, underratedly, like, a hard injury to come back from. I think it was like a sprain or something, and a sprain is like a tear. A sprain's like a terrible name for some of these injuries because sprain is like a tear in, like, the muscle. So they're just being a little careful with that. And I think, like, that's another question about the rotation. Like, when Mo comes back, it's going to be kind of interesting to see what Natalie does with the big rotation there. But I think, like, we'll probably see her ramping up here and there. She's been practicing a little bit, nothing, like, crazy, but, like, definitely in shoot-arounds. So it's not, like, a serious injury, but I think it's they're just being careful.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I was actually wondering, again, this is more of, like, a maybe more of a macro and a retrospective question. You said at the top of the episode that it's true. When all said and done, like the vibes, even throughout all the ups and downs, the vibes have remained high, amongst the team, amongst the fan base, or, Valhalla. But, before the season even began, during the preseason, like the Valkyries got a lot of flack for moves that some fans did not like. Like, for example, like Cheyenne Sellers being waived prior to our first preseason game. Some people just didn't even like the expansion draft, like selections, because people always have their preferences, and of course, people are going to be fans of like players from their favorite colleges. So Caitlin Chen not making the opening day roster, and then Yusei Osite, which we knew she wasn't coming over, but then you have no Valkyrie draft selections on the opening day roster. And yet, here we are, as you said, right? 17-15, literally number one in defense. Yep. How, like, from what you've seen, again, like just from what you've seen, like how have, like, because Natalie, especially Natalie having to be in front of the cameras, she took a lot of flack having to answer those questions, whether or not, right? Like she could just simply be towing the company line. But I mean, from your perspective, being there to actually, like, when those questions are being asked, how do you feel like Natalie, the coaching staff, even Ohemanian and like the opportunities you've gotten to interact with her, like how have they really handled themselves where it's like, okay, like this might not be the most popular, but like they seem like they have not wavered in their plan.
Yeah, they're sometimes it feels like they're deflecting a little bit, which I get. I understand, like they kind of want to keep it tight, and I think that's a big part of like what they're about. Like they don't want extra stuff like interfering with who they are as a team, and like like all these rumors and everything. They don't really want to like deal with that. But I think like at the end of the day, I think Natalie takes a lot of like the like shouldering of a lot of what the franchise wants to like put out there and like defend. I think when the Julie Van Loo thing happened, that was like a firestorm on Instagram. I think the whole country of Belgium, like just was not rocking with that decision. So I think Natalie is like shouldered a lot of like the responsibility for the franchise in terms of like explaining some of the moves, explaining like their thinking. Again, like as a coach, you're gonna have to, like, some of the questions we asked, like she's gonna have to deflect them, which I totally understand. But I actually haven't had too much of an opportunity to talk to Ohima. I think she talked to the Chronicle a lot. But she said that they're very aligned. Like I think like that's the biggest thing. Like it's like the same message from every player, every coach, the front office, the ownership. Like they're all on the same page, which as frustrating as that can be for like a journalist, like sometimes it frustrates, I get it. It does like set like it does make like the team like this very like forward thinking, like we have a vision. And I think that's really important. Like you see some of these teams like Chicago, like I don't know what the vision is there. Like I think the ownership and the coaching is sometimes misaligned, and it leads to like seasons like Chicago where they're giving up like their picks going to the who's it going to again? It's not their pick.
Exactly.
It's
and then Sloop goes down, and you're not looking for another point guard until
Minnesota owns
25
Chicago's
games later.
First round pick.
Yeah, like it's going.
Oh my god.
What?
So,
it's going to Minnesota. That pick. I think that's like, in terms of team building, especially for an expansion franchise, things can go crazy. I think also like keep an eye out on Portland. Like their team president stepped away like recently, so they have to look for a new.
That's
team
crazy.
President. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh,
like they have like a couple months to figure this out.
Like they stepped away before they unveiled the team branding.
Yeah,
wild, dude. You know,
I wouldn't say that's like a encouraging sign if you're a Portland Fire fan. So as like, again, as frustrating as it can be, like as a journalist, I see what they're like from a team building perspective, what they're about. They are about this very singular vision, and they don't really care about what people think for the most part. They're not reacting to like social media in a lot of ways, which is really admirable, because some of these teams are like, they are kind of pushing for what the fans want. I think like it's tough sometimes. Sometimes the answers aren't what you need for an article. But it is like it's a really like crazy commitment to like their vision and winning. So
Nice.
I have 3 more questions that are very quick.
Oh.
That actually, no. I mean,
Go
Michael,
ahead.
do you have any? Because they're actually all
Um,
tie into Kenzo's recent articles. That's
No,
why.
I'll play the game that we played on other pods that we've done at the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very easy then. This next one. Is Veronica Burton this year's
Oh.
most improved player of the year?
I think easily. It's just like I always have problems with like most improved player of the year just because of like how some people vote on that award. Because sometimes people just vote for like the lottery pick who took a leap, and it was kind of expected leap. Like if we're going to the NBA, when Ja Morant won that most improved player award over Desmond Bane and Jordan Poole, I thought that was like a weird. I didn't like that. I understood why why voters voted for that. But I think the spirit of the award is like a player who was not really relevant, who was not even really, contributing to a team, taking a big leap and becoming like a contributing factor. And Veronica Burton's done that in spades. Like I think like if we're talking about optimism, I'm like super high on what Veronica Burton can be because she took like one leap this season, just becoming a starter, being the point guard for this Valkyries team. She's also started in every single Valkyrie game this season. So that's Iron Man. That's a skill. Being healthy is a skill. Yeah. But like this last week, like it feels like she's kind of figured out like a lot of these things on offense, like knowing when she has to be a scorer, playing off ball, like just being this like floor general point guard who can like set up Chechi and Janelle like in their spots. I think a big reason why Chechi and Janelle are doing so well right now is because Veronica's point guarding is like it's pretty like surgical. Like she's getting these players like the ball in the right spots. So I can go on about like how good Veronica Burton's been this season, but I don't think it's a question. Like she should just be straight up. They should just give her the award right now, if we're being honest.
I mean, like I tried to be unbiased and like acknowledge these other players, but we're at the point where like she's one of the league leaders in assists.
Yeah.
Right. She has the 3rd most double-digit assist games this season.
Yeah.
Right. So that's offense. She's gonna get votes for all defensive team. Frankly, she should be on the all defensive team.
Yeah.
Like if she's doing both of that, how is she not the most improved player?
Right.
I called her like I've compared her to Drew Holiday to some of the other writers in the room.
Nice.
Which
that's a good one. Yeah.
I got flack for that. I got a little bit of flack for that just because I think Drew Holiday had like the offensive skills coming out of college and everything. But I stand by it. I think like the two-way stuff is pretty incredible. She's like the primary defender on like the best team's best guard. Like that Kelsey Plum game was pretty exemplary of like what she can do.
She had her like what 1 for 9 or something like that.
1 for 9.
I mean, that graphic that they showed on the broadcast last night was very illuminating, right? About like all the top. These are all these guards that are likely going to make the All WNBA team, and look at their averages this season against VB. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. She's done it's a pretty incredible, and she's like super humble about it. Like she'll say like it's thanks to my teammates, thanks to my coaching staff and all that. But if you ask any of the other like anyone else around the team, it's Veronica like just working hard, like being at the practice facility like a lot earlier than the other players. Talking to Natalie. I think Natalie and her like talked a lot leading up to like training camp just about like how she can be a point guard, because they'll tell you all the time like the skills were there, the skills were like it's like she had the opportunity, but she also took like a leap this mid-season. So it's great. I really hope the voters I don't have a vote, but I really hope the voters give it to Veronica there.
I mean, that last line you said right there, right? Talking to Natalie, really trying to be in lockstep, figuring out how to be a WNBA point guard.
Yeah.
Because Michael and I mean, like Michael was very high on VB, when we got her in the expansion draft, and he even was like saying like, oh, she's kind of more of like a combo guard, maybe like, and yet boom, I think she's one of the best actual playmakers, like point guards, like pure point guards in the league.
Might be top 3, to be honest.
I mean,
behind like Caitlin and Sabrina, I would say.
Maybe we're getting a little crazy, but I'm like, again, I'm a Veronica Burton optimist, so I see like the logic there.
Yeah. And then this one, because I do want your honest assessment or opinion, is Natalie Nakase the coach of the year?
Oh
yes. Oh yeah. I've heard I forget the Atlanta Dream coach's name. I've heard stuff about that. I've heard Nate Tibbetts' name thrown out there, But I think like from a story perspective, turning this expansion team, like she has that like in spades. Like she turned this expansion team like with like these players that everyone, these teams didn't want, like they didn't protect them, into like this playoff team, this winning team. It's really incredible. And again, I'm biased. I only cover the Valkyries, but like I think it's pretty crazy and incredible how much she has like this team in sync with what she wants from them. And these players will die for Natalie. Like they listen to her. They like they respect her. They talk to her. Like they consider her like they really love her in that locker room. So I'm biased, but I want Natalie. I think Natalie should be coach of the year. Yeah.
Okay. Let me plug in, Con, and you can have the last question because I know your question is probably a good closing question. And who knows, it might be the same. But yeah, let's just play this game. So the standings are right now the Valkyries are 7th and Atlanta is 2nd. So if the playoffs started today, could the Valkyries beat the Dream?
And
is there a way you could see that? Because you guys already mentioned.
Let me remind you,
2 games.
We beat them, right? We beat them in our last outing against them. Yeah. We beat them and a green device that was thrown on the court.
Oh my God, a device.
So, right, that was our possession. That was our offensive possession.
Yeah, the Dream are that's a weird matchup because I think at that first game they played against the Dream, I was like, oh man, this Dream team like matches up really well against the Valkyries. I think the size was an issue in the very first meeting, and then they got that really nice win on the road in Atlanta. So that's a tough one. I think like they have a way better chance against that team compared to like if they were played the Liberty, the Lynx. I think the Mercury are like a really bad matchup for them for whatever reason. They just can't figure out Alyssa Thomas's whole thing going on there. So I think like I'm gonna say I think they could probably they'll push it to 3 for sure. I'll you know what? I'm gonna go. They're gonna they can win that. They can win that series. They can do it. I think coaching Natalie can scheme up something for 2 games to get out of that series. And all it takes is like Chechi going like 7 for 10 from the 3-point line in one of these games to really.
No, that's real though. Like, because then you'll stretch Brianna out, and BG seems like she's a step slower this season. So that's realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like just something about like the Valkyries defense that really makes these teams uncomfortable. Like the Valkyries do a really good job of just making these other teams not do what they're the best at. So it's on Atlanta to kind of adjust to that. I think I think the Valkyries are kind of playing with house money at this point. Just being in the playoffs is really great for them. If you ask them, they'll be like, we want to win every single playoff series ever, which is maybe not realistic, but it's a good mindset to have.
I would keep going. Like so they beat Atlanta in the brackets, but I'm not, because then it'll be the 3-6, and that's right now New York, Liberty, and Indiana. So we'll stop right there.
No, so it's gonna be New York. It'll be New York.
Yeah, it'll be New York. Yeah.
So best of 5 against New York.
They have
how do we do?
Depth.
We get 1.
That's a tough one. Liberty, they talk about having their number. The Liberty really have their number. I think like it's either Brianna Stewart just going to town in the paint, or them setting up Sabrina Ionescu just like the home. Like again, also like all these Valkyrie fans keep saying Sabrina's going to come to the Valkyries, which maybe, but I don't totally see it. I think she loves New York. Also, I think she's like,
that's her team.
Yeah. Also, like she likes, I think living in New York's fun. I think she lived in California her whole life, live in New York. I think she's good where she's at.
Yeah. She can stay. We want Maria Conde next year.
There you go.
Looking forward to that. Yeah, that was my question. Go ahead, Con.
No, I think we'll just finish it up here. I just wanted to say, to our audience, if you haven't already, Kenzo wrote this great article about kind of like the connection that Natalie Nakase and Caitlin Chen share. Basketball, even though it spans different generations of basketball, of high school hoops. I encourage everyone to read that. I don't know if that was your intention. It meant a lot to me as an Asian American, and someone who does have like a niece, because you wrote like that one part of the article where I can't remember whose nephew, Natalie's nephew kind of looks over, sees Natalie, sees Caitlin Chen, And it's true. I feel like my niece kind of sees herself in these players and in Natalie, you know, which I think is a really beautiful thing. And I just, again, kind of wanted like maybe what you hear, and obviously you at least get to interact with Natalie. Like every time it's a national broadcast, they'll always make mention, right, that she is the first Asian American head coach in the WNBA. They'll make mention that Caitlin Chen is the first Taiwanese drafted player. You know, they don't ask. They're not trying to be like the face of Asian American hoops. Yet it seems like they handle it with a lot of grace. Like, what have you seen? Like, I mean, is it something that maybe they kind of deflect because they just want to be just another coach or just another player? Or is it something that, like, you know, they've both embraced and try to kind of push forward?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think sometimes you'll get reporters who haven't been with the team like this whole season, and they'll ask the question like, Caitlin, what's it like to be like the first Taiwanese American to be drafted in the WNBA? And she'll give like a short answer, kind of just being like, it's great. Like, I really love, like, I think it's a great part of representation and everything. But sometimes you'll get like, it kind of depends on the question you ask. I think if you ask like Natalie or Caitlin a very specific question, like, I think like what the good thing about like this article and knowing that they did North-South together was like it was a little bit of a niche pull, because I only knew because I follow like North-South Instagram, and I just did like my research, and I have a lot of friends who played North-South, and I think in those moments they tend to like open up a little bit more. I think I was talking to someone about this, but I think one thing we kind of have to remember is like they're also like they're kind of like jocks in some ways. Like they're these like basketball players, so they're like, it's not conscious in their mind that they're like these trailblazers. But I think like in these moments when like you have an opportunity to kind of talk to them, I think like at the start of the year, I asked Natalie at a press conference, like I said to her, like it means a lot to me as like this Japanese American, Chinese American guy who's seeing like this coach like get this job. I think she kind of can recognize that in the moment. So I don't think they're actively thinking about it like as like these trailblazers, but when it comes up, they know they can kind of understand where they're at and like what it means to like these people, to our community and everything. It's funny because I think, I don't know, it is, that's another really cool thing about like being in this job. Like it's really cool to see, like I get to write Natalie Nakase or Caitlin Chen on some of these articles like pretty frequently, and I don't really get to do that all that often with other sports and everything. So it's really cool. I think they're doing a really great job of it. I think like at times it could probably be a little annoying to get that question like all the time, and that kind of just become like what they're about. But they do a really good job. I again, like they're wonderful. It's really cool to be able to talk to them about that stuff at this level.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah. Trailblazing in like multiple levels, you know.
That may open the door too, because that Chinese team had some things going for them. They probably needed some like more size, like in the Olympics I'm thinking of. But they looked, you know what I mean, like they had some players over there that I think could come over to the WNBA. So I hope that opens the door, because that's a like big thing to be able to have children be able to see you and then be able to identify like, oh, she looks like me, and like that's trust. I know how that goes, man. And it's beautiful to see, for real.
Definitely. Yes.
Well, I think this has been a fantastic episode. I hope, hopefully, if time permits, maybe you can join us again. Maybe prior to the playoffs. And then once we see the bracket set, now we can really play that game again.
We get really into the weeds there. I'm sure like Natalie says she doesn't scout like ahead of time, but I'm sure she has a coach kind of thinking about those playoff matches right now.
She totally does.
Yeah, she does. She's already been doing it. Like she's lying.
She's got like a binder about it, like a whole binder.
She's a basketball junkie. I mean, like in a good way, you know, like So
Yeah.
All right.
But thank you guys for having me. This was really fun. I had a great time talking to you guys.
We appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
But make
you.
sure you let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter and everywhere, Instagram, like where you know, clutch points, like how to weed out everything, like everywhere. Just go ahead and
definitely. Yeah. You guys can follow me on Twitter. It's Kenzo Fuku. I do a lot of Valkyrie stuff. I post maybe some, 49er opinions here and there, some Giant opinions. I'm going to be covering the Warriors this season for Clutch Points as their beat writer. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully some of the WNBA crowd can carry over there. But yeah, I'll be covering the Valkyries for the rest of the season and definitely, hopefully in the future. So yeah, follow me. That's where I post most of my stuff. And of course you can go to Clutch Points. The Valkyries page is a lot of my stuff is there. I have an author page also. But yeah, thank you guys again for talking Valkyries with me. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you. We appreciate you again. And ladies and gentlemen, just make sure y'all like, subscribe, go follow Kenzo. Make sure y'all go follow him, go tune into his work. And thank you for your time.
I think I'm like 38 followers away from 1,000. So if we can get 30, that'd be
run them followers up.
All right, this is gonna be easy.
Whoever's listening to this
All
podcast.
right, let me tweet that out. Don't worry.
All right.
Take care.
Peace out, y'all. Take care.